So today we're taking a look at the new HP Mini 110 and the new HP Mini 210, and we're going to be focusing mainly on the design and some of the features, and I'll talk a little bit about the specifications at the end of the video. So let's take a look at these models. So if you recall, last year HP actually introduced the HP Mini 110, which is the older design. So what you're looking at right here are the newer models, the new redesigned HP Mini 110. There are slight differences, but if not, they're not that far apart. So let me just talk about the 210 first. This is the slightly higher end model. Alright, so you can see there's a red one, and they do have a blue one as well. And one thing that you might notice is that HP is kind of very strangely given up on this, the design of these, I cannot remember what they call it, the imprint, the HP imprint. So this is the older HP Mini, and you notice that they have these imprint things. They got rid of it, strangely. I kind of liked it because it kind of made the design slightly sophisticated, but instead they come up with this nice, it's still nice, the design, matte kind of design with a nice HP logo right here. So let's just open it up and take a look. So you got a 10.1-inch display. The 210 comes with a glossy display, so you can see my reflection right here. And the advantage of a glossy display is that the colors pop out. Alright, especially if you are not under direct sunlight. But if you are under direct sunlight or under a direct light, like what I'm trying to do right here, you will have problems seeing the display because of the reflection. But if you put it at about this angle, it wouldn't be so bad, especially when the display is on. So that's one thing to note. You got a webcam, as all netbooks do. Okay, and then let's take a look at the new keyboard. This is actually a chiclet keyboard. Alright, and you know, it's a very nice feeling keyboard. I kind of like the feeling of the keys itself, and there's enough separation for you to really feel the keys and touch type, even though the keys seem to be you know, physically smaller in size. Alright, and then you have all these shortcut keys, and these shortcut keys, you know, by default they do, you know, whatever function that you see on the label right here, rather than the F1s to the F12s. And you know, for a normal consumer, you probably usually don't care about the F1 to the F12. Only some of us geeks like to hit those function keys. So it's actually a good move. And so here you got the help key, which actually is F1. The brightness controls, you know, the monitor stuff. You know, you got the controls to the media player, volume controls, as well as the Wi-Fi key. And if you really do want to use the function keys, all you have to do is just hit the function key on the keyboard while pressing those keys, and you get those keys right back. So that's actually a nice feature, a nice touch that I actually personally think is a very good idea. Okay, and the trackpad is actually something that's kind of cool. This trackpad is actually a one-button trackpad. I know, you know, most of you're saying that you know, there's a particular company that also does a one-button trackpad. But nevertheless, it's a pretty cool idea. This is the best way to save space on a netbook. On a netbook, every single inch, every single millimeter, you know, matters, because you need to squeeze in as much hardware as possible. And in the past, what they did with the old HP Mini, let me just show you, is create a small trackpad like this, alright, and put the buttons on the sides, which is kind of strange, and you still have a really tiny trackpad. And so all the newer 210, what they've done is they put a full trackpad here, and you know, you can actually scroll all the way like this, and if you need to click, you can just press this corner of the trackpad or this corner to right click. So you know, this becomes, you can actually reuse the space here and maximize the amount of space here. The size of the trackpad matches the size of the display. That means that, you know, you can pretty much do a one-to-one. You can say that if I put here, my mouse will be on this corner of the screen. And I'll tell you why this is important, because the HP Mini 110, which is cheaper, slightly lower end model, does not do that. Okay, so what I actually mean is that the trackpad size, you know, matches the display's, you know, dimensions. Now, some of you care about these, some of you don't. It doesn't really matter, to be honest, but some people are particular about this. So I just thought I want to point this one out. So the trackpad on the 210 matches the display, while the one on the 110, the lower end model, does not. Okay, so remember, the 210 is a slightly higher end model. Okay, and so let's just close it up. And the 210 is actually quite a small machine. They really maximize the space completely, you know, in order to make the big things big, and you know, at the same time still try and keep the machine small. So let's take a look at the ports that are actually available on this computer. So let me just zoom right in and focus. So here you have the VGA port. So I'm glad the HP stopped messing around with the video out and made the VGA port a permanent feature on their computers. The previous model required special adapters. Okay, so you have the charger, which lights up. This light lights up, by the way, when you're charging, just like the older models. A USB port right here, and you have a 3.5mm jack. So this jack is actually not just used for audio, but for microphone as well. If you connect a headset, so just like the MacBook Pros. So what you need is you need a mobile phone headset. I've tested the iPhone headsets, and all of them work. So if they follow the same if they're using the same standard as the ones on the iPhone, it will work as well. So you just plug them in and you can use them for Skype, use this computer for Skype and things like that. Okay, so microphone is still there, even though you only see one port. You just need to have a mobile phone headset. So ventilation on the front, and on this side you have a 5-card reader, 5-in-1 card reader, SD, memory stick Pro, MMC, XD. So that's 5 card readers, and then of course you have the power switch here, ventilation, 2 more USB ports, and an Ethernet jack Kensington lock slot. So 3 USB ports in total, Ethernet port right here, okay, as you can see, and you have a 6-cell battery. Now 6-cell batteries are nothing special. If your netbook today does not have a 6-cell battery, it will lose out to the market because everybody has a 6-cell battery. One of the things about this 6-cell battery though is because they try to keep the computer size small, the 3 extra cells will stick out on the side. But the advantage is that they've turned the battery into some sort of a stand, so the computer can actually raise up to an interesting angle when you actually put a 6-cell battery inside. And so just talking about the battery, let me just take out the battery. If you notice right here, the 210 actually has a SIM card slot. And what that means is not that every 210 will have a SIM card slot, but you are capable of buying broadband on mobile capable HP Mini 210s. Alright, so so that's one of the cool things about it. Your service provider might sell a HP Mini 210 which has support for broadband on mobile. Okay, so very quickly, there's this new feature that the HP has actually added into their netbooks, which I thought was quite cool. And what they do is that they call it a vanity plate, and I'll just demonstrate it on this computer, but know that it's exactly the same on the 110. So one thing you'll be looking at this and you'll be wondering, it's a very nice design, it's completely clean, there's nothing on it except a little bit of a slight imprints. So where is the Windows certificate? Where is the serial number and things like that? And what do you do if you want to upgrade the RAM? And what HP has done, they've put something they call a vanity plate. So all you have to do is just push this eject button right here. That's what that eject button is for. Okay, and you can actually slowly peel off the plastic backing of the computer. And this is official, by the way. I'm not doing some hack of voiding any warranty. You can actually find this in the user manual of the computer when you buy it. All right. And so I just covered the Windows certificate so that you can't get the product key. So if you get the Windows certificate, you have RAM on this side. Okay, you got the hard drive over here, so you can actually replace this yourself. All right. So this is actually very user replaceable, and I really like that because no screws required and things like that. You can even change the BIOS battery if it runs out. So this is actually quite a cool idea. All the information, the necessary information, can be hidden away when you don't need them. So the advantage is that they don't wear out. I mean, if you take a look at my current HP, you can see that a lot of the labels have kind of they've already worn out because they're kind of exposed and things like that. So that's one of the great things about having it covered behind this piece of plastic. And you can very easily, just zoom that right out, you can very easily kind of just put the plates. That's it, you're back to normal again. So I thought it's a very smart feature. Okay, so another feature that I'd like to show you, just take the opportunity to do that on the 210, is its software. Okay, so another thing about netbooks today is that they've started to put lots of junkware inside there. You got all your Norton antivirus, which, okay, it's fine, 6 months of free Norton antivirus. You got a lot of other funny stuff like eBay and all that rubbish on the desktop. One great thing that they've put on both the HP Mini 210 and the 110 is something called Quick Web. And what happens is that the moment you turn on the computer, you'll get into this particular mode, and you can actually access the web, check your email and music instantly. It's kind of like an instant boot kind of thing without having to boot up Windows. Alright, so that's something that you can disable the feature, and they will ask you some questions the first time you turn on the computer. What do you like to do with it? So it's a very cool feature that I think a lot of you will actually appreciate. Instant web, and it's available on that particular computer as well. And if you want into Windows, just either don't touch it for 15 seconds. Again, you can set the timing to be a lot faster, or you can just hit this button and you'll go straight into Windows. Okay, and so now it's a great opportunity to take a look at the 110 and what are the difference between that and the 210. So I'm just going to do that very quickly because, to be honest, there aren't that many differences. So the first difference you'll notice is that the bezel of the display is a lot bigger. So physically the computer is bigger than the 210, and you can see that this is actually a matte display. So if I already mentioned the advantages and disadvantages, this is completely opposite. Matte display means that you can actually work under direct sunlight. The disadvantage is that the colors will not stand out as much as they do on a glossy display like the one on the 210. The keyboard is slightly different. The keyboard is not it's not a chiclet keyboard. Okay, so it's slightly less comfortable than the 110, but otherwise the keys, sizes and all that, they're pretty much still the same. Okay, and you can find the same keys just like that on the top. So the mouse is what I was talking about earlier, and the 110 actually goes back to a traditional mouse that we all know and love. The disadvantage, of course, is that you can no longer use the space that's taken by the mouse buttons to scroll, and so as a result, the touchpad becomes a lot thinner and longer, and thus as a result, it no longer is proportionate to the display size. So once again, if you care about this, then you might want to know. If you don't, it doesn't really matter, to be honest. Okay, so that's some of the design changes on the inside, the keyboard and the mouse, and as well as the display. The ports are completely identical, to be honest. There's pretty much nothing different on both sides, except that it has a two-in-one SD card slot rather than 5-in-1. So it supports SD and MMC. No support for memory stick or XD on the cheaper model. So you find the same power switch, the same two USB ports and Ethernet jacks, they're all in the same place. And because the computer is bigger, they are actually able to fit an entire 6-cell battery without having any part of the battery pop out. Alright, because they'll be flush. So you can see right there. So this is a 6-cell battery and completely flush. But of course, as a result, the computer is much bigger. No SIM card option for this particular model. Okay, so this is the 110, cheaper and not as good a keyboard and a mouse. But if you don't really care about certain things, you can save some money by getting the 110. So now, specifications. Now, one thing that I want to say is that when it comes to specs, netbook specs change very, very fast. So as of right now, September 2010, these are the specs that you can find on the market. But I will tell you that by the time you reach the stores, they might have changed. So don't rely on this video to find out about the specs. And go down to the shops and ask. But if you really must know, the 110 comes with a 1.66 Intel Atom N455 chip, while the 210 comes with the newer N475, which is a 1.83 GHz processor, so you have better performance on this machine. Both machines come with Windows 7 Starter Edition. Both machines have 1 GB of RAM and 250 GB of hard drive space, and Bluetooth wireless LAN. They're all inside. So those are the specifications of these computers. Generally, this machine is more expensive. In Singapore, this machine is about $150 more than this particular model. So about $100, not so much, not 150, just about 100. But again, go down to the shops and find out the prices as well as the specifications, because they move really, really fast. So try not to email me about these two machines, because it's hard for me to give you advice when these machines keep changing so fast. Okay, so that's it for this episode of Gear65. You want to check out more videos, www.tech65.org. That is our address, and I'll see you guys soon. Goodbye.